Welcome to the Blooming League of Original Podcasts.
G'day and welcome to an extra special edition of Thrash and Treasure, the Torture Chamber musical comedy podcast that is one part Tricky Monster, one part Cake Monster, 100% Lucy the Slut. Speaking of loose, I'm Aaron, and I'm joined as unusual by another of our favourite guests, while freckled-faced fart machine Gareth is taking some time off to lick his wounds. Welcome back to the show. Actor, singer, dancer, writer, producer, and the voice of these Fosse Forest ballet commercials that Mamma Mia likes. It's the West End's Dave Muscat. How you doing, mate?
Good, mate. How are you? You forgot to mention that I can also do 8 handstands in a row.
Really? Oh, Godfathers.
Yeah.
I saw you in, as I've mentioned before, I saw you in a chorus line,
Yeah.
and all you guys in that. I could only wish to do what you guys. In fact, Andrew, he did the flip over.
Yes, he did.
On the side of the wall.
I taught him that.
I begged our acting teacher, please teach me how to do that. Please, can you teach me how to do it? And she's like, you have to get a harness and everything. I'm like, no, I really want to learn how to do it. And I still today, I cannot do it. Unfortunately, but it's probably a good thing because I'm a little bit of a klutz. Probably shouldn't go into. I should ask you first. How your week's been? If you remember the past week, as we spoke before.
For me, look, this whole period is one of those ones where the hours just sort of melt into days.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, it felt like it was March of 2020. So as far as this last week, it's just been a mixture of various projects and things to try and work on and try to keep myself entertained and not staring at the walls, really.
Yep, keep you out of trouble.
Yeah, trying to keep me off the streets.
Yeah, that's it. No, we don't want you on the show. You know, it's funny when we first had you on the show, I researched, as I do all my guests, so we do their research, but I Googled your name because I knew you didn't have a Wikipedia page, which is probably a travesty by now. And I read this article about Dave Muscat from, I think, Dandenong or somewhere.
Mm.
And you were, oh, not you, but I'm reading this article and I couldn't see a photo of this Dave Muscat, but he'd gone out in the street, was giving everyone the finger and causing trouble, like a real menace to the neighborhood. And I'm sitting there, I went cold all over thinking, oh God, who have we invited on the show? Oh, shit. But then I realized, obviously, it wasn't you because he was like 45 years old or something like that. And by then you were in London, so.
I do have several personas, so
yes, I've noticed.
You know, but I'm not the smartest with my personas. I do tend to name my personas after the same name as myself, so I'm not the brightest in that sense. But yeah, that was me. You know, I just wanted an excuse to flip the bird.
Oh, well, I guess now you're my personal hero. I'll tell you what, last night I needed a hero because, as I mentioned before, I'm pretty clumsy, and I'll get through this story quickly because we do have a jam-packed show today with an amazing guest, which I nearly didn't make it for, I tell you that. Last night about 2 o'clock 3 o'clock maybe in the morning, I went out to cook pasta, as I often do, as it would show. And first off, I smelt burning. And I looked down and my sleeve was a little bit close to the flame of the stove. I'm like, oh shit. So I moved away and all that. And I'm standing there, I'm stirring the sauce, and I suddenly felt something rub against my leg. And it scared the shit out of me, right? And I sort of flicked the spoon, and one splotch of sauce flew up, hit me right square in the middle of the glasses.
Wow.
And I'm thinking to myself, thank friggin' hell I am wearing glasses right now because I would be blind. That is boiling hot pasta sauce. Anyways, 5 minutes later, I'm pouring the water out into the sink, and about a cup's worth fell out of the pot over the sink and landed right on my friggin' foot.
Wow.
Ripped the skin off.
Ripped the whole skin off.
Like a patch probably about an inch wide, an inch tall. I took a photo of my ugly foot and posted it on Twitter for some stupid reason. Schadenfreude, I guess. Anyways, I'm thinking to myself, oh God, I'm in Final Destination. I am in I'm going to die. And I have to go to the shops in a couple of hours, where the last time I went to the shops at 5-6 o'clock in the morning, I got stopped by 2 ice addicts who stopped their car right in front of me and wouldn't let me get past Right, and then they sort of followed me a little bit, so I've had to call the police. And I usually feel safe going to the shops, but they had seen me go in and go into the service station or the gas station, and go to the ATM. So I was freaking out, and so here I'm thinking, oh God, I'm going to die on my way to the shops. I'm not going to make it home, and if I do, it's in a bloody body bag. But I'm alive. I feel a little bit queasy because I feel like my foot's going to fall off because I didn't have any band-aids. The problem with children, never any band-aids. Oh my God, I had to wrap toilet paper around my foot. It looked like mummified fried chicken, I tell you that.
Well, look,
Anyways,
if it makes you feel any better, I don't know if you know this, but this is a fun fact.
Yeah.
47 people a year die from tomato sauce in the eye. So you're not alone, basically, is what I'm trying to get at.
Oh my God. On my 21st birthday, I stabbed myself in the hand with pizza. That is not a lie. We're going to move on with the show because I'm not going into that story because guess what?
What?
We have another legendary diva today, and it sure is Christmas Eve in July. Our next guest first spread her wings on the Broadway stage in the Tony Award-winning M. Butterfly before her would-be cancelled in 2021 portrayal of Christmas Eve in the Tony Award-winning Avenue Q saw her gift the performance as well to the West End and the Vegas stage, making her a bona fide Vegas showgirl, hell yes. But apart from that, she hooed her way through Seussical the Musical, entered the workroom from 9 to 5, and had a ball in Roger and Hammerstein's Cinderella. And just when you think I've struck midnight, 1,000 more credits appear with roles in shows such as Mamma Mia, the moment when the god of carnage stuffed the nerd Matilda Holiday in the closet, I Married an Angel. It really was the Pacific Overtures to a High School Musical where she matriculated alongside America's leading man, Mr. Barack Obama. Holy shit. But most recently, this diva made a splash as Pile of Pooh in the hit off-Broadway musical Emoji Land. But soon she'll be Sheen in Schmapple TV's Schmigadoon, which is fitting that she's coming to us live from quarantine in Ireland, even though Brigadoon is Scotland. Please give the warmest, most Aussiest g'day to the incomparable Anne Harada. Top of the morning to you. How are you doing? Oh, it's afternoon there, isn't it?
God, what an introduction. But of course, I have to tell you, I didn't go to Vegas with Avenue Q. I'm so sorry.
Didn't you?
No.
Okay, Wikipedia, you have done it to me again in front of another Broadway legend.
You're going to have to do it from the start.
No, it's all right. Start over. But
Yes, Hi, it's Aaron here. Just a quick amendment. Apologies to Anne and Wikipedia. It was not Wikipedia's fault that I got the Las Vegas bit wrong. It was my fault. In my notes, it literally says not Vegas. I don't know why I added Las Vegas into the introduction. That's just me being a complete scatterbrain. I tried to tell you guys. Anyways, on with the episode.
Close, really close.
Let's pretend, because as I was just saying that I nearly killed myself last night, and so I'm
Yes.
still feeling queasy from that. Let's pretend.
So sorry.
This is my girls 5 ever Dolly Parton moment with where I'm imagining that you are a Vegas showgirl, because I just watched that episode before. But yes, anyways, different show because you were obviously on Schmigadoon.
Yes.
Which is coming to Apple TV in 2 days after this episode drops.
Oh, July 16.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm very excited. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
This is a torture chamber of music and comedy, hopefully. Cross your fingers on the comedy. It's always going to be a torture chamber, even if the comedy is bad. Obviously, you were in one of the greatest, you were a part of from the very start, I believe, one of the greatest musical comedies ever in Avenue Q.
Thank you very much.
It beat Wicked, full stop. It beat Wicked. And what was that vibe like going into the Tonys?
Oh, we were so sure they were going to win, and they were so sure they were going to win, and, seemed like a done deal. And so we didn't even give it a second thought. We were just all standing around backstage and we're like, oh, they're giving out Best Musical. So we all cleared a path for them, and then they announced us and we didn't know what to do. We just started screaming and ran out because we'd not prepared. Everybody was very uncool. Like we all just screamed like children and ran hysterically towards the stage. I can't believe it even now talking about it because we shouldn't have. I don't know that we should have won necessarily. I mean, I love our show. I think it's brilliant, but kind of like when you compare the two beasts, not that they needed it, they never needed it to run, and we really did need it to run. So it was a good thing that we got it, but yeah, it was insane. Like nobody expected it, and even to this day, I think it's probably the biggest upset ever in the history of Tony history. Just me thinking.
I don't know. I think this year's Aaron Tveit. Yeah, he's going to beat himself. So that's going to be the greatest upset, I think. Unless he loses. Because if he loses,
he's
then...
not going to lose.
Well, I don't know. Stranger things have happened. We've just had the year we've had. So
I feel very strongly in my heart. I am a Tony voter. That, only 60% of the Tony voters had to vote for him to win. And I'm pretty sure he's getting 60% of the vote.
Yeah, now there's a bit of uproar with all being jukebox musicals. What are your thoughts on that? And also yours, Dave, because I know you've been in Flashdance.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I have a knock on the door. Can I just
no, that's fine.
Sorry.
Yep.
Well, I guess,
it's all right.
You know what, but look, jukebox musicals.
Parcels.
Oh, yeah, no worries.
And that's all I need to say about jukebox musicals.
I completely missed that.
Yeah, say that again, Dave.
Okay, I got caught up in parcels. I'm like a puppy. I see anything and I'm there. No, anyway, sorry. Yes, that was
all right. I was just saying, look, jukebox musicals are part and parcel with the landscape these days, I think. And from my perspective, if it introduces people into musical theatre, and if they go on to see other styles of show, then brilliant. So that, I guess that's my perspective.
God damn it, I hate reasonable opinions. When I hate them, and now you're just like, oh God, he's talking sense, isn't he? Shit. And Anne, what are your thoughts? Because obviously the three musicals that are nominated are because Percy Jackson missed out.
Yeah, I feel really bad about that. I thought it was a pretty good show. I agree. Like, to me, the important thing is to get people into the theater. This isn't a culture necessarily that is brought up to go to the theater. I think people really have to make an effort. The tickets are expensive, blah, blah, blah. So whatever reason people can find to go. And, I used to think Mamma Mia was the stupidest show ever written. And I'm still pretty sure it is. But when I was in it, I had so much fun. And the audiences loved it so much. Yeah. I just have to say, like, it wore me down. It's like by the end of that run, I was like, I love this show and I want to do it forever, and there's just not enough character development in that. So like, you could spend like a minute. There's nothing to play. You're just out there like talking to get to the next song. There's absolutely no reason to be, otherwise. So I don't know. I loved it though. So I can't really throw stones at it.
Well, obviously there's the two types. There's the jukebox, slap together a story. And then there's the biographical one, and that's sort of they're very much coming out of the woodwork. Obviously, the Michael Jackson one has just been announced, which is also causing a bit of controversy.
Yes.
And actually, your co-star Josh replied to a tweet laughing about Broadway's hypocrisy in terms of let's cut out all this abuse and now let's do an MJ musical. And I said, "Oh, snap!" to it and laughed. And suddenly both of us got like 100 trolls coming at us. So,
oh dear, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, laughing these days can be quite, offensive to people. So therefore, I've decided to take the stance to no longer tell any jokes.
Oh no, please don't.
Just from this point onwards.
If you stop telling jokes, it's solely up to me, and I can't handle the pressure.
All right. Do you know what? I carry around every Christmas cracker.
Yeah.
Every Christmas cracker that I've got from 1973, just for this occasion. Oh, no. Just in case I need to pull out a joke. So I'll have them back at the ready for you.
Yeah, there is a certain dad joke quality to your humor. And that's kind of why I like it, because it is that smack your forehead and then want to smack you on the back of the head for it. But you can't help but laugh.
I get that often.
Yes, I know you do. But just back on the Tony Awards now, Dave can verify this. We didn't start getting the Tonys till about, I think it was the year 2000 or something, did we?
Yeah, I think it was 2000, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that on one of those, on Foxtel or Optus Vision or whichever one it was at the time. But I do remember thinking, yes, Wicked is going to win that. Obviously unrelated, but to what we're about to talk about, because we're going to get back into Avenue Q afterwards, because this week we got a metal album from Ireland.
Yes.
Thin Lizzy, which I picked this one because by now I think we're on episode 33. I've learnt a little bit about heavy metal, which actually that's maybe why I'm so jittery lately. Not because of that accident last night. It's because of all this heavy metal that I have been forced to listen to. So I also sent the link to you guys. And did we have a listen?
Yes, we had a listen.
Yes, awesome. Okay, well, I'll quickly do my review because I always do a stupid review. And then we'll get into and what we all thought. So when I first saw we were doing Thin Lizzy, I was like, "Are you making fun of me, Riz?" And proceeded to ignite the rip-roaring guitars on the Spotify. And with each song, I found one of the most musical adaptable albums yet. Each song I could almost hear and envision where it would fit in a Thin Lizzy jukebox musical, lest we're ever unfortunate enough to get one. The opening number, eponymous and titular, also known as Thunder and Lightning, screams like an electrifying opening number a la Rent, where a tough as nails 80s roller skating gang makes their presence and grievances known. The second song, This Is the One, is yet again another example of how metal musicians cannot count, as This Is the One is the two, according to the fact that it is the second track. However, This Is the One where the rival skateboarding horde enter, wreaking havoc much to the chagrin of Mullet, the charismatic leader of the roller gang. But on his way back to the roller lair, he sees a pretty girl on the arms of a skateboarder. And as the sun goes down, so does the mood. The lingering tempo and musical worthy length of 6 minutes, making me antsier than Trekkie Monster when his Wi-Fi goes down. Comedy, tragedy, and roller violence ensue in a high-octane, acid-washed romance with a character named Skinny Bitch Betty in honor of this Irish outfit. Whilst the music isn't as theatrical as many we've reviewed in the past, numbers like The Holy War, which has a chorus sung by early 2000s Cher, and even then, if they're all on wheels, that makes this the Rolly War. I'll see myself out. Much like how I vividly imagined this awful idea for a musical. I think Julie Taymor should direct. As for the lyrics, yet again I fail to hear anything past my own critical thoughts. But still, 3 stars.
Well done.
Yeah, no, I thought, because we've had a lot of theatrical stuff and a lot of operatic metal singing, but this was the first album that I could hear or I could picture how this story would play out, because it felt like a jukebox musical in that sense.
I totally agree. I sort of felt when I was listening to it that it definitely had a strong narrative all the way through.
Don't ask me what that narrative was in the actual album. My mind doesn't work like that. But the music, and the singing, I could hear where the chorus would come in, or the ensemble, if you will.
Yeah, of course.
So what did you think, Anne? Because I know this obviously isn't your world.
Well, I felt very similarly like that. This Is the One is sort of the I want song. You know, like I hear it, I know it, I touch it, I feel it, I see it. I was like, okay, all right. You're taking a claim on something. You know what I mean? But I really, honestly, through the whole thing, I just kept thinking like, this is sort of like the band Spinal Tap wanted to be.
Yeah, they could have been. I'd never seen Spinal Tap.
I mean, they aren't. I'm sure they are. But I was just like, the whole time I was like, this feels very, you know, anthemic. Every song has a thing, like, is like very strong guitar, very strong. Like, I was just like, this is so weird, like a whole album full of like, I'm putting my flag in the sand and this is the thing, you know what I mean? Like every song is like that. Like, do you not have any ballads? But no is the answer. No. But I thought that, you know, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, what do I know? Nothing. I know nothing about this genre at all. You know, but I think you're right. I mean, I think it could be a pretty okay musical. I've certainly seen worse. I mean, just listening to your plot, I was like, okay, I could sit through that.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty much West Side Story when you think about it, on wheels with Thin Lizzy.
Well, what isn't West Side Story on wheels, really?
Yeah, no, that's true.
Starlight Express.
But anyways, no, back to this music. I wrote a few notes in terms of what else I could see. The Holy War. I could see this as a build-up. A big build-up, kind of like Be Prepared in The Lion King, which is maybe why I see Julie Taymor directing this. But I could see that build up of getting bigger and bigger, and the chorus grows, and there's that whole big crescendo at the end of it. Cold Sweat, sung by a legacy skater, which is where Skinny Bitch Betty would come in.
Yeah, definitely.
And as she recounts her failures and why she's now a recluse, because that sort of felt like it was about drugs and ruining your life about over drugs. But I guess it could apply to anything when the 80s were involved. And someday she is going to hit back. I wrote, good, so she should, then leave the bastard. And that's where I stopped. So, that's not a joke. It is an actual statement, a fact. She should leave that bastard.
No, of course.
There was one, I can't remember what song it was. I'd have to bring up the album again. One song did grate on me.
One of my favorite tracks, and it might very well be the one that that grated on you. I don't know if it is, but it was Heart Attack. It was sort of towards the end. I think it was track 8 or track 9.
Oh, that was the last one.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. You know, I don't know if it was a favorite one because it was sort of nearing the end.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Because I was sort of vacuuming my house as I was listening to it. And I was noticing that as the album went on, my vacuuming was becoming more and more ferocious. And by the end of it, I was vacuuming the drapes. I was vacuuming the ceiling. I was just, it did get me a bit hyped up.
And the speakers.
Yeah, everything. But no, Heart Attack was one of my favorites, the final song.
I'm thinking of a different album, to be honest. I'm thinking of the album that we did 2 days ago. So I'm sorry about that. Because none of these songs really grated on me, but one of them made me antsy.
Yeah.
That's all. Because as I've expressed on this show, just hurry up already. Just get to the point of your song for some reason, which is my own fault. Like I'm a grown man. I should be able to calm down.
Well, you say that
for a minute. But just what were your favorite or standout tracks, Anne? Or were there any?
Well, I don't know. I think favorite would be a little strong.
Yes.
I felt During the Sun Goes Down, you know that one?
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me, it made me feel sort of Doobie Brothers-ish. I don't know why exactly, but it sort of made me feel like, I was like, oh, this feels sort of like when you're driving in a car in Santa Monica. Like it just sort of had a different groove to it than the others.
Yeah.
Which were much more like it's the end of the world and there's flames crashing everywhere.
Yeah. Which I think I prefer that because I can get up and move.
No, I know you do.
Yeah.
I get it. No, it seemed like it was different because it's so different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There wasn't, no, you're right in that there wasn't too much peaks and valleys across this album. I mean, there was some different beats, but
yeah, but it was just like bam, bam, bam the whole time. But I sort of think, I guess that's their style. I don't know, well, if that's their jam.
Funnily enough, this was their heaviest album, which is why I picked it, because I thought like songs like The Boys Are Back in Town are a bit too well known. And the whole point is for educating about metal.
Certainly.
So I thought, well, I'll go with one that I had not heard of at all, because I don't know much about Thin Lizzy as it is. I didn't, it wasn't until I said to you, I'll have a look into Irish metal bands. I had no idea they were Irish until that Google search popped up. I'm like, oh, okay, that kind of settles it. I did look into some other ones, and it was very much with Irish fiddle and Celtic music strewn through it. And I thought, well, that's really interesting, but I don't want to scare off any more guests because we kind of have done in the past and terrified them comically. Like it's all in good fun, and even the metal guests have been terrified by some of the musicals we've given them.
I bet,
like Pippin and Putnam County Spelling Bee. It caused quite a rant from our guests that episode. It was all in jest, obviously. I sort of thought, well, I will look into their heavier, at least Thin Lizzy's heavier album, and I would like to at least see it attempted as a comedy, not maybe a serious musical.
Sort of Rock of Ages-y.
Yeah. Mixed with Xanadu.
There you got your rollies in there.
Oh God, as if the past year hasn't been bad enough. I've just put that idea out into the universe.
You know it's going to happen now. 2024. It's going to happen.
Well, I want a cut of those rights because I put that idea out there. Goodness gracious me.
I don't know if you know, but this was actually their final album that they recorded in studio. This is the last one that they did in studio. This is I think it was their 11th or 12th album. but this was their final one together. So it almost pays. It would be the perfect album to pay homage to them if you were ever that way inclined.
Yeah, and also it sounds like it because they do sound quite angry through some of it.
Well, they've just spent 10 or 11 albums, playing thrash music, so of course they're going to be angry by that stage.
Yeah, that's true. But there is that sort of that two sides going to war thing. Like that's why I feel like maybe that's why I don't know. I didn't look into them too much. If there was a bit more of a mix of and maybe even some funk or some blues, I might have gone with a 3.5, edged on a 4, because there is such a strong through line in terms of you can hear maybe a concept album in this. But no, I think it wasn't as bad as what it could have been. Let's just say that.
Which is what we all strive to reach,
Yeah, not as bad as it could have been. I
Yes.
think that's pretty much your whole life.
Exactly. That's a passing mark.
That's true. A shout out to Moulin Rouge, the musical there. Anyways, I think we probably run the course on Thin Lizzy. There, she's withered away to nothing, if you will. Actually, we probably should throw to an ad break where you'll obviously hear from our guest co-host Dave.
Woo.
Coming this summer, winter, spring, or fall, the first ever musical theater sitcom, where you go behind the scenes of the latest West End show, the Fosse Forest Ballet.
Where's the important stuff? Aha! £1,000 a week ensemble rate. That's what Mamma Mia likes.
Starring Philip Joel and a West End cast featuring Kerry Ellis, Darren Day, Louise Demon, and Oliver Saville, and more.
It all started in 1987 when I was a jobbing actress working in a diner.
Yeah, it's just I had a really bad experience when I was touring Australia with a wombat.
Darling! Mwah, mwah. La, la. How long have I been mentoring you? 3 months?
2 years.
So her name is Henrietta.
The horse. Yes. I've managed to secure you an audition for the biggest, most innovative, and the latest show to be going into the West End. Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat. Think more along the lines of Panther.
Frozen.
You can watch this episode for the price of a coffee. Simply go to www.thefosseforestballet.com. Any and all profits go back to theatre charities, acting for others, and the Theatre's Trust. You'll laugh, you'll cry, and you'll see a grown man in sparkly tights.
Tight nights. Nice. Tights.
And we're back with Thrash and Treasure. I'm joined by Dave Muscat, and oh my God, it's Anne Harada. Goodness gracious me. Now, I have to ask you, how many times in your life have you wanted to smack someone for calling you Anne Hedara or Anna Hedara?
Every day.
Every day? I can imagine.
I don't know why nobody can get this name right. It's really not that hard.
No, it's not.
Especially since when people first try to learn my name, they always think it's Anna. And I don't know why. Just because I have so many A's in my name anyway, I guess. They're just tacking another one on.
I noticed that.
Oh, it's crazy. It's like, could there have been at least another vowel in there?
It's funny because I make puzzles, or I used to make puzzles, and theater puzzles and sort of word games and stuff like that, right? So when I see anyone's name, it doesn't matter who you are, I immediately see a puzzle in it, an anagram or whatnot. And your name reminds me of a game. Well, it's not really a game, but it's a trivia question. Now, there are 8 states in America that have one vowel. Do you reckon you can guess?
One vowel?
That only use one vowel.
All right, let me think. I don't know. Let me think.
Can I buy a vowel?
Here, I'll tell you how many have A's. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 have only A's.
Oh, so it's it's not like they just have one vowel for the whole state. It's like they've only got A's in their name.
Yeah, and the rest of them are consonants.
Like Alabama.
Yes, correct. That's one.
Okay.
There's only 8.
Yeah. Okay. All right, I got one.
Do we give up?
No, I don't give up yet.
Nope.
Let me think a minute.
Can I say what? So I'm absolutely terrible at pub quizzes, right?
Mm-hmm.
My go-to answer for any pub quiz is always Patrick Swayze. So I'm going to say Patrick Swayze.
No, sorry.
Damn it.
And in that vein, Kansas.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Right?
And there's another one that has Kansas in its name, but you don't obviously say that.
Alabama, Kansas.
BG.
Dave, go to the corner and turn around.
I told you I'm terrible at pub quizzes.
That's kind of what I make or used to make, and that's what this is from.
Well, that's awesome. I got 2 out of 8.
What about LA? Does LA count? Because that's only
No, that's a city, you dork.
Oh, well, see, I told you I'm terrible.
Arkansas.
Oh, Arkansas, of course. Arkansas, yes. All right.
Yep.
Arkansas.
Mississippi.
Ah.
New Jersey, Alaska.
I was going to say Alaska.
Tennessee.
I was going to say Tennessee.
And Maryland or Maryland.
Oh, wow. That is really interesting. I know that's what you used to do. That's what you do. Like, that's how your mind works.
It's probably, I should probably get tested, I think, because if I'm looking at names and seeing puzzles, that kind of makes me think, oh, God. And I'm an awkward oversharer. I'll cut that out of the episode. Obviously, it's a little bit too personal for our audience.
You're just inquisitive.
Yeah, no, it's, I don't know what it is. It's just how my mind works. But, obviously, you're of Japanese American heritage, born in Hawaii, which Hawaii and Japan are my 2 favorite places in the world.
Oh.
Japan was the first country I went to. I have a Japanese sister, like educational sister, and all that. And I got to see her again for the first time in 20 years in Hawaii. So yes, no, they are genuinely my 2 favorite places in the world.
Which island did you go to?
Only Oahu, unfortunately. And everywhere I went was all sort of grassroots. It was all locations they used in Lost, the TV show. So I didn't do the tourist things. I went to sort of local beaches and
I was going to say you went to beaches a lot.
Yeah, the YMCA, and we went to a sugar factory that they filmed pretending it was Nigeria. We went to the Byodo Inn Temple, which obviously a bit of Japanese culture there. It was funny because when I went to Japan, I went to Disneyland and Legoland and McDonald's and KFC. I went to Hawaii and I did a lot of Japanese things. I went to a Japanese war memorial. I saw my Japanese sister. I bought a Japanese t-shirt of Jurassic Park. And it was just weird that these 2 holidays, which were a year apart, were the yin and yang of each other because they were...
Did you go to the Byodo Inn Temple on the windward side?
Yes.
Where,
yes,
you know what I'm talking about.
Gorgeous place.
That's where my dad's buried.
Really? Oh.
Yes. And a lot of my relatives, actually. A lot of my relatives are. But we used to go there all the time when I was a child.
Isn't it beautiful?
Because my dad felt very strongly like that I should be comfortable in those kinds of places. And it's so pretty, and you can feed the peacocks and the fish.
And a lot of kitty cats.
And ring the bell and do all that.
Yes.
And so I looked at it as sort of like a very loving, like experience to visit there.
Yeah.
It's just nothing but good memories for me. So yeah, I'm so glad you saw it, because I think it's beautiful.
Look, I walked through that place with a tear in my... A lot of places in Hawaii, because I was on my own for about 8 days of that trip, just going around to all these local places, and even like to a local chicken place, a Popeye's chicken, just because they filmed Lost there. And obviously the Byodo Inn Temple was Jin and Son's wedding location. And I just watched the TV series twice in a row, so I'm walking through and I'm thinking of them. I'm looking at this scenery, the beautiful mountain behind it, that walk up where you've got all these different temples of all the different religions, and it's just such an amazing place. It really, really is. And now it's even more special to hear you say that, because you're a guest on my show, and oh my God.
Oh.
Well, I was just going to say, my only understanding of Hawaii, of Hawaiians, is that they like pineapple on their pizza. That's about the only thing I can offer to this.
Well, that's uncultured.
Well, it's not true for every Hawaiian person at all.
Utterly uncultured.
I grew up there and I never had pineapple on my pizza, and I think it sounds disgusting.
Oh no, I love it.
But you have to understand that in London, people put sweet corn on their pizza, and I find that very odd.
They do. I don't understand that.
Australia, we put egg. An Aussie pizza has egg on it. It's like a Hawaiian, but with egg. I don't get that. And look, I and it's funny, when Josh Lehman was on the episode, I was telling some stories about being in Hawaii, and he looked terrified. He looked absolutely terrified at what I was saying. So I probably sounded in that episode like I had a really bad time, because there was a few threats and I got drugged and stuff like that. Like, you know, things happen when you're on holidays by yourself. But I really did. I had such an amazing time. I got driven around in a convertible Porsche on my second day there. And at 9/11, actually, I went into a church and I did mass on the anniversary, the 15th anniversary of 9/11, and I just bawled my eyes out. Partly also because Lost was filmed there. But the principal of that school, which I think was Sacred Hearts or the one opposite it, the principal caught me walking around taking photos because it was a Sunday, and she offered to then take me for a tour around where the priests live and behind the scenes, and sort of show me the old bell, and told me the history of this church that the community, or they had run out of money, and so the community got together and built this 3 domes, I think, out of brick, like square bricks. And the workmanship behind it was absolutely stunning. It was, I've photographed a lot of temples and churches, but that was one of the most beautiful. And to think that was the community, that was the Hawaiian community that got together and did that. I think it was in Kaimuki.
Kaimuki, yes.
Yeah, because there's the 2 schools, the 2 religious schools opposite each other. One of them, Sacred Hearts, with the Jesus statue when he's got his hands out. That was where the final scenes of Lost were filmed. So of course I'm bawling my eyes out there. Anyways, we shouldn't be talking about this, my holidays. Again, I want to go back though so badly, and to Japan. I can't wait. And also I have to get to Broadway. Because
Avenue Q is no longer, dear.
No.
You don't have to go to Broadway now.
No, it's and even like it had a life beyond its Broadway run, because 2 days after it.
Oh, I know it.
Yeah.
Forever, but still too late. You don't need to go. If you want to see Avenue Q, forget it.
No,
you can go to see something else. There's lots of other shows to go see.
Come from away.
Well, theoretically, there's lots of shows to see. None of them are right now, obviously.
No.
Come From Away is a wonderful show, as you know. Love it.
Yeah, that would probably be first on my bucket list, even though I've seen it, and there'd be 100 things to see there. But now in terms of this recording, now this was, I think, maybe the last, or maybe Hamilton, I guess, or maybe even the first and last musical that really took advantage of the digital age. Because those songs, the standalone songs, everyone's a little bit racist. The internet is for porn. They made its way around on MySpace and things like that. And, MSN Messenger, people who didn't know musicals knew Avenue Q, because that was very much one of the first viral things, I think, in terms of musicals. And did you guys know that at the time, like that it was spreading?
Well, I certainly didn't. I mean, I remember when I was in London, when I was doing the West End production of Avenue Q, everybody was texting on their phone, and I didn't know what that was. I know, it's like ancient history. I don't even know why we're talking about it.
Well, I think in like these days, especially with the memes, and like Hamilton, I would say, and maybe Dear Evan Hansen, popular among the kids, but I think Avenue Q, especially adults, got a real kick out of like the sense of humor behind it, the risky irreverence of it. I don't want to ask, do you think it would survive today? Because I think it's a show that we need, just like Hairspray as well. Like the overall message, I think that the show is about overrides the content that people may be offended by, if that makes sense.
Of course it makes sense. I've done nothing but defend this show, for the last however many, ever since people have come up with the concept that like some things you're able to talk about on stage and some things you're not. And I'm of the belief that you have to do it on stage. It's far better to address it on stage than it is in actual life. I would much rather address racism on stage than, on the street.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and, just because you don't talk about it or you don't sing about it doesn't mean it isn't there. So, what's the point of that? I don't believe in censorship on the stage anyway, but I have spoken to the creators, not only the creators of Avenue Q and the creator of Hairspray, about this topic and how much flack, for whatever reason, these shows have gotten, especially recently, about, whatever things that people perceive to be offensive and racist and whatever. And, all I can say, whether or not it's in our defense exactly, but it's like, you have to understand that things have to be taken in context. And a lot of people just won't and don't take productions in context. So I'm just like, when somebody asks you, Anne, do you think this is racist? And I go, of course I don't think it is, or I wouldn't have done it, But still, I do understand that some people are triggered by whatever, and that's just the way things are.
Mhm.
And you don't have to go see the show if you don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree there, and I lose a lot of left wing friends because I'm very square in the middle in terms of let an artist have their voice. Oh, sorry, in terms of that, sorry, Dave.
Well, I guess the only thing I would I would add to it
Yep.
would be that there seems to be this growing sense within the community that everything that we see on stage or even in films or whatever the case might be, that they're a direct reflection of what society should be.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't necessarily subscribe to that, and I champion what was said before in regards to the fact that if you there needs to be a space where things can be said and performed, and creative thoughts can be done in context.
Mm-hmm.
And I 100% sort of subscribe to that feeling as well.
But look, from my point of view, because I don't perform anymore, but I write, and I recently released a couple of novels. But the character is a bully, and he starts off as a bully. And he's a 10-year-old who hates humans but loves animals and helps rescue animals. And I'm waiting for people to tell me that I'm condoning bullying by having that. And it's funny because then it would be people telling me who I am and what I think based on that. And I think that's what people need to realize, that I expressed my pain and my experience with bullying through these novels. An artist will express their experience with racism through their plays or their songs. We need to let artists have their voice, or art will die, because it won't be art, it'll just be documentary.
This is true.
And I mean, documentary is art, but we have documentary as a genre.
Yeah.
We have art, and we're musicals or film. We have songs. We have this, that, and we let people stand up and have their voice to express that, because they're doing it in a way that it sounds good, or it's done in a way that it makes you laugh, or it makes you feel good when you walk away from it. Joanna Gleason said it best, that male audiences during Into the Woods would start to fall asleep, but by the end of it, they were woken up and they would walk away, and their night was suddenly a little bit better than their rough day or their rough week or whatnot, because that message or that story or whatnot that they took them on sort of awoke something in them. And once we mute the artist, what's that going to be for the audience? What are they going to be taking away? In my opinion, I'm, again, not a performer, so it's not up to me. And I'm also not easily offended. So I probably shouldn't have an opinion on this. I'll shut up.
No, I think everyone has the right to have their an opinion, and it doesn't matter if you're a performer or you're a writer, or whether you make props backstage or anything like that. If you're involved in the creative business as a whole, then I think everyone's opinion matters, and I think you're 100% right that we run the risk of documentariizing, which is a word I just made up, the whole sort of the industry, to say that someone who is only a bully can write about being a bully, or someone who's only been the victim of a bully can write about being the victim of a bully, or anything like that. So
Yeah.
I think there's definitely scope for us to have a little bit more context in creativity.
Well, on that note, what would an Avenue Q documentary look like if it was done in that style?
A whole lot of monsters with hands up their bum.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have.
Well, there is an Avenue Q documentary. I mean, sort of.
Is there?
Have you ever seen this documentary Show Business?
No.
It's about it's about that season, that 2004 Broadway season.
All right.
And it follows kind of like the openings of
Yeah.
the 4 musicals. It's like Us and Carolina Change, and I think Taboo's in it, and Wicked, just like basically showing kind of like what happened during that Tony time. It's really fascinating, actually.
I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, look it up.
Because we haven't recorded just yet, but we had Tonya Pinkins on 2 episodes ago, so I'm gonna try to watch that documentary before I think 11 days until our recording, I think it is.
Oh, she's so amazing, isn't she?
I can't wait, because I watched her film recently, and I see so much potential in her, because she did the production design as well, and it was her debut film. And I don't know if you've seen it yet, Red Pill.
No, not yet.
Okay, I won't say anything, no spoilers or anything like that. Laura Bell Bundy has a fantastic song at the end of it. That's what I will say. American Girl. Check that out on Spotify or Apple Music. but you know, so I'm going to try to watch that in time for that interview, because as I say, I started off with the question about the whole Wicked thing and that vibe, and I saw both Wicked and Avenue Q professionally in Melbourne the same year. Did you see these productions, Dave?
Do you know what? I hold my hand up, and I've never seen Avenue Q, even though I've really, really wanted to for so long, but I've never had a chance to see it.
Well, I saw it in Melbourne. We had I think it was an original production. So we didn't get the replica from Broadway, which we normally do. But Wicked, I saw that, and I tell you what, I found it quite cold. I found it was very structured, labored. The performers didn't look like they were having fun. And even though it's sort of dramatic, I don't know. I didn't. Avenue Q, you felt a warmth from the cast because they're doing such tongue-in-cheek work that, you know, you can't really do that coldly, or you'll come across as mean saying a lot of these things that the jokes in the show. But Wicked, I can see why Avenue Q is won that Tony, is what I'm saying, because there's a warmth that comes from it, very much so, I think.
I just also think it had that kind of underdog quality that people kind of like now. That they just thought, oh, well, Wicked's a juggernaut and, you know, whatever. But Avenue Q is so cute and scrappy.
Mm-hmm. And another juggernaut that you were a part of was Les Mis, which, funnily enough, my mum saw you in.
Which I cannot believe.
I know. Only been to New York once in 2007, and they saw Les Mis, and because I remember getting the playbill and I can't find it. And I remember that your name was in it, and that's what I was excited about.
I came in and replaced
Jenny Galloway.
Jenny Galloway.
Yes, who and she also played your character in Mamma Mia, so in London.
And I did it regionally in St. Louis at the Muni.
Yeah, at the Muni, and you've done quite a few shows there. And you did
I have
Gypsy. Oh, that's right. I was meant to write in a pun that you went from butterflying to electrifying. And born in the Hawaiians. Like I was going to write that into your introduction. I only thought of it like 10 or 20 minutes before I started the recording, so I didn't get a chance to put it in there. But
it's awfully fun to do Gypsy. It's awfully fun to do any show at the Muni.
Yeah.
Anytime you get to do something for 11,000 people at a crack, it's really fun.
Oh wow. But I don't perform anymore, so that terrifies me. Like just that many people. So I know you did obviously Gypsy there. You did Mamma Mia there.
I did Matilda. I did Mrs. Wormwood and Matilda there.
You know what? One character I'd like to see you play, King George in Hamilton. And I'm putting it out there for Broadway to cast you as King George, because this whole show is about who cares who's playing what character. Really?
Well, I would love to, but here's the thing about King George.
Yep.
Is that you've kind of got to hate him too. And I just feel like it's so much easier right now to hate a white guy than it is to hate like a short little Asian girl. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I like the idea of it so much. Obviously I'm very good friends with one of the King Georges, John Robbins, because he was my Princeton in Avenue Q in the West End. Yep. So I went to go see him in Hamilton when he was King George.
Oh, wow. Yep.
And, he's wonderful. And now he's playing Jean Valjean.
Oh, there you go.
In the West End. So, I'm very fond of that part. I think it'd be amazing. I love the coat.
But how can you do the cheekiness? Because he's cheeky.
Oh, well, the cheekiness.
And I think that, I reckon you could play it. I can play it well. I mean, but in terms of your character in Avenue Q, I think Christmas Eve is very much the heart, the conscious of all these characters that are this is Princeton. This is the let's just say the plain vanilla white man that walks into this crazy world, and everyone has their faults and everyone has their flaws and what makes them bad or whatnot. And your character's obviously that she has broken English, but she speaks the most sense. So therefore she is the glue for all these characters. Maybe not for Brian, probably drives Brian a little bit crazy. But he loves her.
Well, she's like kind of like the emotional heart of the show. She's the one who can tell everybody that, she can tell Rod that it's okay to be him and to accept himself. And she's a very loving, supportive soul for him. And she's Kate's friend. And, she's basically kind of there to like help everybody with the interpersonal relationships.
Mhm.
She's the smartest character on the whole street. She has 6 master's degrees. She's, it's not like she's stupid because she speaks broken English. It's that that's her second language.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And that, people make assumptions.
Exactly. Yeah.
Everyone's a little bit racist. Boom, boom. Otherwise,
Yeah.
Why sing the song? So, and I say this to people all the time. They're always like, well, would it be okay? Do you think it'd be okay if Christmas Eve didn't have an accent? I'd be like, no, she has to have an accent. Otherwise, there's no reason for her to exist in the play.
That's it. And it's because that reason that she does speak the most sense, that she speaks the plainest English out of everyone there. How does an idiot from Australia understand that and not bloody everyone else?
Well, it's not, people are just very very quick to pick on things.
Yep.
And that's part of the problem in terms of like trying to evaluate shows, that you've got to be able to take something in context.
Yeah, exactly.
We keep going back to this, but that's really what it is.
It is. No, it's funny you say that about Christmas Eve without the accent, because if you listen to the German cast recording, she sounds German.
Which I never have.
You haven't? I was actually going to link everyone to it.
Oh, fantastic.
Because I was listening to it earlier. It's quite interesting, but Christmas Eve isn't exactly, she doesn't have the accent. She does sound German. So, which is an interesting experience, listening to Germans sing happily about racism.
How does Schadenfreude come out?
I was going to make a joke about that and ask you guys, how do you think Schadenfreude was translated? And wait for the crickets.
Yeah, right.
I know at least one person who would fall for that, but no, I have heard it before in the past, but I couldn't tell you. I listen to a lot of foreign cast recordings because I find that I know the lyrics anyways, because I'll sing along to them in English, but I can hear the music a lot more because I'm not distracted.
Oh, interesting.
I could just listen to karaoke versions, I guess, but I'm not getting the orchestra there.
No, karaoke versions are terrible.
I know. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. But speaking of different versions, with Avenue Q, you did Avenue Q Swings, obviously.
Oh, I did.
Yes.
I love that.
So I have a question. What other genre besides jazz or swing would you like to see Avenue Q translated into?
Well, obviously heavy metal.
Yep, I could see that.
Obviously.
What about you, Dave?
Well, I mean, heavy metal is going to be my go-to answer as well, but I'm going to err on the side of difference and go with, I would like to see it done in Canadian sort of folk music.
That's very, very specific.
What makes something Canadian folk music?
It's just something about it. There's just something about it that no one can...
Something about it.
It's whimsical and very, very nice. That's what it is. We've got lovely Canadian friends. Thank you very much, Dave, for offending them. Shout out to Steffi and Lisa and Joanna, who was born in Canada as well. And my girlfriend who lives in Canada, obviously.
Oh my God.
That was a terrible... I'm sorry.
When I was in Vancouver shooting Schmigadoon, all I wanted to do was ask people, do you know anybody named Alberta? I just need to find a girl named Alberta so I can take a picture with her.
That sounds like something I would do. But okay, this is way off topic, but have you ever been to Morea?
No, never.
Have you been, Dave? I'm going to...
To the country, no.
Well, I've been to Paradise, but I have never been to me. That was terrible.
That's the worst song ever written, I think.
Oh, that song is?
Yeah, I've been to Paradise, but I've never been to
It is pretty bad. I tell you, don't put that on when I'm drunk or I will put on a dress. Anyways, okay, I have a question for you both because I ask every performer this. What is your opinion on the state of this standing ovation for today's audiences? Because they seem to give it to anything and everything.
Well, I mean, I haven't found it, and you can call this a comment on the quality of the shows I do. I haven't found that audiences give shows I'm in an automatic standing ovation.
But I think that's a good thing, though. As a performer, you should want that. Yeah.
No, that is a good thing because you want to feel like you've earned it if you get it. Right.
Amen.
But I certainly don't blame audiences for wanting to give a standing ovation. I would never blame an audience. I think that's a good thing because that means they're participating in the event, in the evening, that they've got some skin in the game. I mean, obviously it's terrible if you feel like, oh, everybody does it and so I'm going to stand and, yuck. You don't want to feel like it's like it's a forced gimme or something.
But then if you don't stand up, you feel like an asshole. So
No, I mean, I've been in audiences where other people have stood and I haven't stood, and I just like, sorry, I don't feel it. Whatever.
oh, I love you, Anne. You are my hero. Because I mean, I do it, but I feel so awful not standing up. And look, I have talked about this before, that Billy Elliot, the musical, which Dave was in Melbourne, and I cried all the way through that first act. I was so swept up in the staging and in the delivery of it, how they interpreted it. But at the end of it, I didn't feel compelled to stand up for some reason.
Well, you're weird.
I know. We've established that on the show. Remember, I did nearly kill myself cooking pasta last night.
No, I know. Look, one time I dropped a fork on my foot while cooking, and the tine of the fork went through my big toe. On a weird, random thing, and I couldn't believe it. Yes. Take a picture of it and show it on Facebook. Like, look, the tine of the fork went through my big toe. That was fun.
Now I'm going to probably do something similar to that tonight when I cook dinner, and it will be on the same spot where I've burnt myself last night. G'day listeners, Aaron here. While you're topping up your coffees, did you know that you can support our show and go on a fantastically scary adventure at the same time? Go to www.thetonistontales.com/bookstore to grab your copy of The Toniston Tales, a darkly funny Aussie trilogy about a young boy who rescues injured animals in his spare time and the roller coaster ride he's taken on by a literal fish out of water. Written by me, the village idiot of Thrash and Treasure, you'll come to love Toniston Turnbull and the dozens of wacky characters that he meets along the way. And here is a sneak peek. Crack, thud, the human trips over the uneven ground as the Twanimal blows out the lantern. Watch your step, Cubpaw says a little too late. Why did you put the light out? Bollycosh, an open flame near hay bales? And here I thought you were smart, sir. Toniston agrees with how silly he must have sounded. What are we doing out here? The boy asks as they blindly walk around the side of the house, where they're greeted by giant shadows rising up above them. Unable to properly see in the pitch-black darkness, Toniston presumes they are the 3 hay bales. He looks around. The plains are vast, and the spotlights out in the distance, now a purple colour, seem to be too far away to bring any real light to them. They do, however, look very pretty dancing on the rippling oceanic sky. Stand back, the silhouetted Cubpaw warns with his gruff but friendly voice, clearly able to see in the darkness better than the human, who had constantly refused to eat his carrots. Grab your copy of The Toniston Tales from thetonistontales.com/bookstore today.
Dave, when were you in Billy Elliot in the West End? What year?
So I was in from 2012 until 2015, I think.
My God, that was way after I saw it. I'm so sorry. 2012, 2015. My God, I had no idea the show ran that long.
Yeah. I think I came in my final year of the contract. I think it was 2015. They'd celebrated their 10th year anniversary.
Yeah.
And then 2016 was their final year in town, but I didn't sign on to do that because we'd just done the DVD. We'd just done the 10-year anniversary. I'd worked on the show for 3 years at that point here in the UK, and also doing it for a year or so back at home in Oz. So for me, my sort of journey had come to an end, a great end. So, but I know it went for one more year. So it did 11 years, finishing in 2016.
I saw it in 06, I think, in London.
Oh, wow.
Lovely.
Oh, you would have seen one of the, well, if not the original cast. Oh, no, I'm so jealous. Even though you are original cast yourself, having appeared on how many cast recordings. And you're working with an Australian, or Heather McAlany, I believe, on Emoji Land. I
love her. She's so wonderful.
Well, I'd love to have her on to celebrate her success. Obviously, having Dave on. We'll move on, obviously, because Avenue Q, look, it's a surefire 5 stars regardless of who is on Team Metal. A Hunk Fest. Are we going to get another Hunk Fest?
I don't know. Are we ever going to get out of this pandemic? Possible. It's possible. The problem also has to be, is my creative team, and am I not working in the month of December? That's really sort of how that flies. And lately I've had a lot of jobs over Christmas. So, if it all falls into place, I'm sure we'll try to do one just for old time's sake, because it feels like it's been 100 years since we've done one. But it's so fun. There's just nothing like sexually harassing a bunch of guys, Broadway leading men types, and, having I don't know. What is it called when you poke fun at somebody?
Oh, shit stir.
Like banter.
Oh, banter, yeah.
Shit stir.
Shit stir in Australia, banter in the UK.
Shit stir. Never heard of that.
Yeah.
Shit stir.
Yeah, shit stirrer. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's just fun. But we'll see. We'll see. I'd love to, but I don't know.
You could always do a Halloween version, Halloweenies.
Oh, I mean, we could do it at any holiday, really, if we had to.
Yeah, but yeah, true. Your Christmas Eve.
No, it's Christmas Eve. The whole point of it is, Christmas
namesake.
Eve.
Now, Schmigadoon is obviously coming to Apple TV, as we established before. What are you actually allowed to tell us about your character?
Well, I am the mayor's wife.
The great Alan Cumming. Holy shit. I am 1 degree away from Alan Cumming.
Yes. And basically the premise is much like Brigadoon, is that basically two strangers to town, Cecily Strong and Keegan-Michael Key, get lost on a camping trip and wander into the town of Schmigadoon, where they quickly realize, well, they don't quickly realize, but they find out that the entire town is a musical, that they are in a musical. But not everybody in the town is in the same musical, if you know what I mean.
Oh, okay. That's a twist.
It's like some of us are dressed like we're in The Music Man, and some of us are dressed like we're in Carousel, and some of us, like it's just general musical land. And we are all in a musical in the town, but nobody acknowledges that. Nobody, because Cecily will be like, well, that was a beautiful song you were singing. And somebody else will go like, I was singing. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, no concept. Anyway, so, their goal is, of course, to get out of this town as soon as possible. But you cannot get out of this. You cannot leave this town until you find true love. That's the premise, kids. And so, of course, they meet a whole bunch of Schmigadoonians who may be possible true love candidates. And, things, hilarity ensues. I mean, it's really, really funny. The songs are all original.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's my next question.
And very much homages to other famous musical theater songs. So if you're a musical fan, you'll really get every joke. And if you're not a musical fan, hopefully you'll still think it's funny. Yeah. That's our goal. And, you can just imagine, like, the town busybody is played by Kristen Chenoweth. And, the town school teacher is Ariana DeBose. And the town, I don't know what to call him, Carney, I guess, for lack of a better word. He runs the amusement park, is Aaron Tveit. So it's just basically Oh, and there's a countess, Jane Krakowski.
Yes. So I was thinking, for some reason, I was thinking of Christine Baranski.
Oh, no.
I don't know why. No. Yes, Jane Krakowski. Now, I'm starting to think that a bunch of really super talented people go together on a holiday and suddenly everything's a friggin' musical and they stay there. This is how that town started. It's just that it was that synergy of all these talented people in one area. That's how it is. Surely that's the twist ending, isn't it? I've solved the plot of Schmigadoon.
I don't want to give anything away, so
I'm right, aren't I, Dave? That's what happens.
Well, look, I have utter faith in you, and you're ingenious. So I would like to go yes.
No, definitely. Now, Dave, obviously you have written your own sitcom that we've talked about. We've advertised on this show. Do you have any questions for Anne about Schmigadoon?
Yes.
Or anything really, for that matter.
About Schmigadoon, I mean, I guess I am finding, and I think it's great to see that there's more musical content coming through in the film variety, whether it be becoming sort of commonplace, or if it's just like a new wave of musical films. Like I know, there's the new West Side Story coming out, and we had the Prom Queen on Netflix and stuff like that. From your side of the fence, when you were shooting it, when you were filming it, were you finding that it was a very similar vibe to what we sort of do on stage? Were you able to bring that same sort of, I guess, live performance to it?
Funny you should ask, because I also was very nervous about that whole premise. And we actually ended up singing live.
Oh, wow. Because you didn't sing at all in Smash, did you? Or Linda, your
No,
character?
not me. No, my character didn't do that. No.
What a waste. Deborah Messing sang in quotation marks. We had to hear that. Still bitter.
Stop it.
I'm still bitter. I like that show.
No, but we actually, had the tracks in our ear and sang live. They filmed that. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I kind of wasn't expecting that. I thought we'd just be singing to like a pre-dub or something. And they really wanted to sing live because they wanted to have that energy kind of come across. And
yeah, you can see the throat moving.
Yeah, you can see the throat, like everything. And just like, so you have your scene partner and you're actually singing to them like you're singing on a stage, only, they're being filmed. And it was really lovely. It really felt fun and organic. Obviously in the big group numbers, we're all singing, but you can't hear a thing we're singing because that all had to be sung separately and recorded separately because there's way too many people. And but yeah, all in all our solos, everybody sang, and it was just so cool.
I can't wait. Seriously, that cast, it's got to be one of the biggest sort of musical casts. Obviously, Girls Five Ever, which I mentioned earlier, that's got nice solid cast of Broadway performers in it, but this one is just bursting at the seams. So do you know anything if we're going to go into a season 2?
No one said boo about a season 2. I mean, we talk about it like jokingly, when we send emails to each other. It's like, see it for season 2, but like no one's ever. I think they want to see if anybody cares about season 1. I mean, I would wait to make that decision.
No, look, these days they've got the sequel planned, they've got the comic book series planned, they've got the TV series planned, all before anything is even dropped publicly in terms of posters or anything. They've got that whole cinematic universe all built in already. They got their table of writers that are pushing out their story. That's how it works these days, for better or worse. So no, but it's good that we're getting, as Dave said, a lot of musical content, because obviously you're a part of Smash, and we've had Glee, there was Gallivant, and obviously some will succeed and others are going to fail. But has there been one on streaming yet?
I don't know.
Or apart from Girls Five Ever, obviously.
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I think as far as like I mean, Smash was obviously a series, but aside from that, there hasn't really been too much around. And I think, when I was sort of putting together the Fosse Forest Ballet, I sort of looked to see whether there was any other similar type pieces out there, and it just wasn't. And it's a musical theatre sitcom, but what we are doing with it and what we're trying to do with it is it's not about the music. Like the musical theatre side of it is the theme, is the parameters. Yes, the theme. So, but it's just about I think that there's a lot of scope and there's a lot of room for these types of shows to continue to go forward. And I think there's no denying fact that in films and TV shows, a lot of the time the draw cards are the people that are in it. And I think we get to a point where people have seen David Tennant in everything, and it's a great concept to sort of open it up to the world of theatre and get those people who are amazing within the theatre world to be attached to these things, because they still do have a following, but it's about opening them up. So you get the best of both worlds, I think, if you start doing more musical theatre sort of content.
Although I would like to work with David Tennant.
Yeah.
At some point.
Oh no, David Tennant would be amazing. No, don't get me wrong. Who wouldn't like to work with David Tennant?
I don't know. I would. I'd like to. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Of course. But I just think, from a business perspective, there's an opportunity to have some fresh faces in things, but you still have the advantage of them not necessarily being fresh faces, because they're people that are recognizable and they've already got a following, but just not on that genre as yet. So from a business perspective, I think there's a really good market to sort of get a following behind shows like that.
Well, hopefully, if the marketing is there, that's the problem is that they don't put the money behind the promotions of sometimes the right things. I mean, Marvel, okay, they're making good movies, but take maybe 50 million out of their marketing budget. We know those movies are coming out, and think of what other smaller projects they could promote with that marketing budget, obviously. But you guys are working with Apple money here, so that's technically, that's really the same ballpark. So hopefully they will, as we lead into that, give you guys the promotion, and we'll see the big billboards and all that. Because I think it's such a silly idea that I can't wait to see it. That's what I love. I love that ridiculous. Pushing Daisies is an example of that crazy over the top world that and again partly musical as well, that escapism. That's why we go into a theater. I'm buying that I'm going all around the world, but all I'm looking at is a box that's got some lights and some sets, some wood and some nails and some really, really friggin' talented people. But that's why I'm there, to escape into that. Whereas obviously TV is a different medium, because they do, and film as well, strive for a little bit more realism. So in terms of location shooting versus studio, how much sort of was the ratio between the two? Because I can see that it's obviously a heightened world that we're stepping into.
Right. Well, I didn't really shoot anywhere except on a soundstage. There are scenes that are shot on location, but I just wasn't in any of them. Do you know what I mean?
Lots of blue screen or green screen?
No, actual sets, actual physical sets. Like when I saw our house, you know what I mean, on Schmigadoon Town Square, and I went into our house, I almost cried, because it was like being in Disneyland. It was like everything was
guilty. I've done that.
It was like pastel. It was like beautiful. The chairs and the sofas and the knickknacks and everything that was there for me. And this was my house, my living room in my house. I was like, oh my God, like I was so moved. It was just like when the first time you get on the set, on the actual set of your play, and you're like, oh my God, that's so cute. And I never, it's that whole feeling. That's what it felt like. It's like but it's, beautifully realized, of course, because they have the best set decorators ever and whatever,
and Apple money.
So
lovely.
Dave, you don't have anything else?
No, absolute pleasure to listen to you both, and it's been a great old time, and both the albums were great. It was great to listen to a little bit of Avenue Q again. It's been a while, but no, it's been really good fun. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for asking.
No, that's look.
I did listen to a couple of your podcasts just to see what was going to happen.
Oh God, what was?
Especially Alison Fraser, because she's my friend.
Oh, look, that was what an honor that was, because it not only our first guest,
isn't she the best?
What a blessing! Like, and what an absolute doll. What a doll.
She's lovely. She's lovely.
She really, really is. Look, we have a lot of fun on this show. We realize it can be mean-spirited and sassy, but our heart's in the right place, because we're trying to bring these worlds together. And as we established today, we got two things that could be swapped over. Avenue Q could be done in metal.
This is true.
And Thin Lizzy could be put on the stage.
But does anybody really want to see either of those things?
Probably not. No,
I don't think so.
No, so I'm probably going to rot in hell for that one. So add that to my list of crimes in this world. But no, thank you both very, very much. And it has been an honor. Like, I'm drowning in talent. And so I'm honored, Dave, that you're here, and I'm honored, and that you would come on. Thank you guys so much.
Oh, no, it's my pleasure. It's so nice. Dave, you're sweet to make the effort to be like in the middle of a road trying to do this. You're very sweet.
It's, I've been in worse places, so it's not too bad.
Yes, so he grew up in this sort of area. So yeah, you have been in much worse places. I can tell you that.
And but Dave, you're in London now.
Yeah, I've been in London for the last 10 years now, since 2010. Before this whole pandemic thing, I was touring the States, and so I was supposed to be sort of over there for quite some time. But
with Sting?
Yeah, with old Sting.
Not just touring. You were with Gordon Sumner himself. Like,
Oh, lovely. What's
yeah.
Yeah. And so then when we got relocated back, I sort of had to find some digs quick smart. So I've managed to settle in the north.
Oh, when I lived there, I lived in Swiss Cottage.
Oh, lovely.
I have no
Yeah, it's
idea.
fun.
I've never been there. But closest I've been is Hawaii. So
To London.
yeah, it's the closest to London
Yeah.
and the closest to Broadway and Hollywood and all the places I want to go.
One day, mate.
Yes, but no, I definitely going. I want to do Alaska to Hawaii and then Hawaii to Australia on a boat.
Sounds endless.
Oh my God. Okay. Yes, it's going to take like 35 days and I do not care. Like, piss off world. I am just going to chill out and watch the ocean. And I'll tell you what, watching a storm on the Pacific Ocean where it's just pitch black dark and the storm is out in the distance, there is nothing like it. There really isn't. That the weather in Hawaii was magnificent. It's absolutely beautiful. Raining every 5 minutes, and I love the rain because it matches my soul. But anyways, on that note, where can we find you guys on social media?
Oh, yes. Well, you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter at Ann Harada. I'm on Instagram. I am Ann Harada, but I never check it because I'm old. So I don't really understand it at all. But you can find me.
Yes. And Dave, where can we find you?
Well, I'm much the same. I'm across all the platforms. I think my handle is at David M Muscat. So my middle initial M for Mary, even though my middle name isn't Mary. But it's at David M Muscat.
Well, that's not what I hear. You know, I've known you for a few years.
This is true.
Yes.
But yeah, look, I mean, if you do a Google search, you'll find something. You'll find an article about me flipping the bird to people in Dandenong, apparently.
But again, thank you guys so much.
No worries.
I hope we had fun, and I hope the albums weren't too torturous. And for you at home, take care, and we shall see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Hooroo.
Pleasure.
No, before he came on as a guest, but I was a year older than I was Don't ask. Don't ask. It's very, very confusing.
I don't want to know. I don't want to answer timeline questions. It's sort of like Lost. It doesn't help you.
But the thing is, I understand Lost. I don't understand my own life. That's the problem.